Fake fruits with the texture of rubber have flooded the US and driven suspicions that they were made in a laboratory. At the same time, floods are ravaging parts of Switzerland due to unprecedented storms. These are just some of the topics in the new episode. Stay until the end to see prisons from the future. And why do many people believe that birds have been replaced by robots? Let's start. In Europe, they are replacing the indigenous population. Viktor Orbán, the Prime Minister of Hungary, has again defied the European Union by refusing to accept refugees from the Middle East in his country. In response to this defiance of asylum rules, Europe imposed a fine of 200 million euros and 1 million for each subsequent day that Hungary refused to accept refugees. Orbán said that the Union's policy is leading to the replacement of Europe's indigenous population, and in years the old continent will belong to Muslims. According to data from the European Commission, in 2023, Europe accepted 13 million refugees, and in the previous year, 2022, 12 million. Orbán gave the example of Germany, which, according to him, no longer belongs to the Germans and does not have the appearance of a German state, but has become a multicultural world. Mistakes in migration policy cannot be corrected, Orbán believes. He therefore calls on Hungarians to say no to migration. Apparently, the fines don't bother him that much. Denmark introduces animal gas tax. Denmark has become the first country in the world to tax livestock farmers for greenhouse gases produced by animals. These include emissions from cows, sheep and pigs that contributed to global warming. The tax will be 300 crowns, or about $50 for each ton of carbon dioxide. According to statistics, a cow emits about 150 kilograms of methane per year. The farmers there will have to pay $7 per year for each cow, which is not much when you load it separately. But if you have 200 cows, it becomes a big number. Experts believe that along with the profit tax, this will hit manufacturers and lead to bankruptcies. Farmers in Europe, if you recall, protested for months against the European Union's Green Deal. But in Denmark, it is already underway. Climate change is also hitting another industry, coffee. Because of deforestation for farms, processing, transportation, etc., now the price of coffee is going up. Several companies are already developing synthetic coffee from plant waste that is cheaper. Their product mimics the molecular structure of real coffee, and it has the same effect on people. It looks like soon everything will come from laboratory. Meat, vegetables, and now our favorite coffee. A robot has destroyed itself. For the first time in the world, a robot with artificial intelligence destroyed itself for unknown reason. The case is from the city of Gumi in South Korea, and the robot worked for the local government. He helped carry documents around the offices and was even able to use the elevator in the building. Witnesses say that he suddenly started spinning around a specific place, then threw himself down the stairs and crashed. The reason for the incident is still unclear. The parts were collected by the manufacturing company in an attempt to find the cause of this self-destruction. The robot has been in operation since August of last year, and on their media there was a discussion about whether the work was too hard for him. Canada introduces rain tax. In the Canadian city of Toronto, the authorities are considering the introduction of a rain tax, which of course they have officially named a storm management fee. The money from it will be used to manage and drain sewers in the city to avoid flooding. The fee will be based on the amount of hard surfaces on properties such as roofs and parking lots that contribute to stormwater runoff into the sewer system. This proposal naturally caused a huge outcry among the city's residents, who already paid for stormwater management through their water bills. In short, more and more taxes and fees, at least in Canada, are going where they should. They found the oldest liquid wine. A reddish liquid discovered in a 2,000-year-old Roman mausoleum in Spain is now the world's oldest known liquid wine. What is unique about this case is that the wine has remained liquid for 2,000 years, which is considered impossible. The tomb was discovered in 2019 near Seville. It dates back to the 1st century BC and belonged to a wealthy family. 8 niches, containing 6 urns were found in it. Some of them were made of stone, but others were glass, which makes the discovery even more interesting. The wine was found in one of the glass urns, and the quantity was about 5 liters. Until now, it was believed that a sealed 1700-year-old vessel discovered in Germany was the oldest liquid wine. However, it has never been opened, so the assumption that there really is liquid wine in there may not be true. Egypt power cuts. Few people know, but since last year in Egypt, the electricity goes out for 1 hour a day. However, since this June, the power outage has been prolonged to 3 hours every day. The restriction was introduced due to high network usage because of all the air conditioners cooling people in the record heat. Apparently, the 20% increase in electricity in January didn't work, and Egyptians are buying air conditioners like crazy to escape the high temperatures. The most interesting thing is that this current regime does not apply to hotels and other tourist sites, which cause dissatisfaction among the locals. On this background, an Israeli expert warned of a systematic buildup of troops by Egypt on its border with Gaza, as well as a strengthening of the military infrastructure there. Egypt's army is the 10th largest in the world, and although it has refused to accept Palestinian refugees and to intervene in the conflict with Hamas, some circles in Israel believe that an attack is possible in the future. For now, Egypt claims it is only to deal with possible incidents and defense. The prison of the future. Criminals will soon be able to serve their entire sentences in less than 2 minutes, thanks to a new prison concept from the future. The project is called Cognify and will use a chip in the brain to rewrite memories. The convicted felon sits down, puts on an artificial intelligence headset and virtual reality glasses, and false memories of what happened begin to be implanted. Thus, the criminal will experience the situation from the point of view of his victim. The memories will be tailored to the individual characteristics of the perpetrator and to the severity of the act committed. The process will last only a minute or so, but then the criminal will think that years have passed. Convicts will be instilled with remorse and regret, which should lead to a deep emotional rethinking of what they have done, as well as their overall behavior going forward. Prisons, among other things, are becoming increasingly expensive to maintain, and studies show that even after sentence, the accused is still prone to crime. It is envisaged that the new method will be applied only if the convicts agree. They will have a choice between it and a traditional prison stay. Floods in Switzerland. Terrifying footage has emerged from Switzerland after a series of powerful storms with torrential rain hit the country. Unfortunately, there are also victims. 2 people drowned and others are still being searched for. Centuries-old infrastructure was destroyed, as well as entire highways. People comment that these floodings have not happened in decades. Flights were grounded in Geneva for 2 hours after the air traffic control building flooded. Entire trucks were dragged along highways, and a landslide swept away dozens of houses, with some towns completely underwater and mud. The important Highway 13 is interrupted, and repairs are expected to take several weeks. Birds aren't real gathering. A super ridiculous belief is spreading among Gen Z in the US. A lot of people are starting to believe that birds aren't real and have been replaced by drones that constantly watch over them. Recently, there was even a sort of rally where a lot of people who believed in this statement gathered, and we have video from it. Take a look.
The birds were replaced by robots.
Birds are clearly machines, charging on telephone wires.
Turkey is considered a bird? No, the government makes the best synthetic meat on the market.
Those people, as you saw, booed a flock of pigeons, and even believe that Google Maps is filmed by birds with cameras. The belief that all birds have been killed by the government and replaced by robots was born in 2017 by American Peter McIntosh, a guy who watched a rally in support of Trump. He decided to ironize it and started spreading his idea to prove how easily the young can be manipulated. Already, tens of thousands of Americans are convinced that birds are not as real as these people here. America is flooded with fake fruit. Dozens of Americans have filmed videos showing how food products bought from supermarkets behave like rubber and bend under pressure instead of breaking. In some of them, the skin peels right off like nylon. Most often this happens with watermelons, but there is also the type with avocados, which does not break, bananas that bend abnormally, and blueberries are like silicone. There is no official information on the case. The media is also silent, and the clips on social networks are starting to pile up. Here is this video of a mother that has gone viral. In it, she demonstrates the texture of the watermelon, which is downright rubbery or some kind of soft plastic. In another, watermelon sizzles as soon as it is cut, and bananas barely break, as if they were made of dough. So far, the reason is not clear. User guesses vary. Some believe that the fruits are treated with dangerous chemicals, others that they are produced in a laboratory, i.e. with synthetic ones. Another video showed how meat in a supermarket attracts a magnet. Some farmers comment that when there is no water in the fruit in question, this rubbery effect can occur. Others are of the opinion that the videos are fake. What do you think? Scratch a comment below. Japan is under attack by a flesh-eating bacteria. Japan is facing a new problem that made headlines this month. It's about a rare bacteria that eats human flesh and spreads at record speed. Health officials say the microbe is type A Streptococcus, causing shock, which has a 70% mortality rate. The only prevention for now is thorough hand washing before eating and cleaning wounds. The infection started already in 2023, but the cases then were around 1,000. This year, however, things are even worse, because only in January and February, there are around 400 infected. In some cases, the disease is mild, but in others, it reaches the blood and lungs, leading to edema and fever, tissue necrosis, and death. The startling thing is that the disease progresses very quickly from the first symptoms to death. Only 48 hours can pass. Like any bacterial infection, this one is treated with antibiotics. But if there are serious complications and the patient survives, excision of the affected tissue is required. North Korea is building a wall. According to new satellite images, North Korea has begun construction of a border wall in the demilitarized zone with South Korea. Technically, the two countries are still at war anyway, because no peace treaty has been signed since the Korean War. It is not known when they started building, but in 2023, there was nothing. And now large-scale walls are clearly visible. At the beginning of the year, if you remember, Kim officially declared that the unification of the two Koreas was no longer possible. He even changed the constitution that the country's #1 enemy was the South, and that if there was a war, he would occupy them first and then annex them into his territory. According to international experts, the wall is not a sign that war is being prepared, but is rather a symbol that the North does not want a reunification of the divided nation. The demilitarized zone is about 4 kilometers wide, divided into two halves, each controlled by one of the two Koreas. Hurricane Beryl. We finish with impressive footage from the eye of Hurricane Beryl as it rages in the Caribbean region. The natural disaster has already claimed several lives, and locals describe the situation as almost Armageddon. Against this background, high-resolution satellite images of its eye show just how powerful it really is. In just 24 hours, it grew from a tropical storm to a top Category 5 hurricane with winds reaching 250 kilometers per hour. Hurricane season is just getting started, and the first one turned out to be quite strong. Let's see what happens next. Thumbs up if you liked the video and subscribe to the channel for more. See you next time.